Good morning, and welcome to the Reach Podcast Show with LeVar Ellis. As you can see today, we have two wonderful guests in the building, and this show is going to serve a purpose that we are excited to come to you to talk about. So I welcome my guest, Dr. P, Mr. Trevion Joseph, this young man. He's the reason for the show today. Before we get into all of that, though, we're going to talk about everything as it relates to mental health and wellness today. We're excited to announce the new show me and Dr. P and my man David Manning have coming next month. But before we get into that, we definitely got to stick to the script. And we want to thank all of our show sponsors and give a couple other announcements that are coming up this week. We appreciate everybody being tuned in. So if you're here for this show today, we hope to bless you with some information and also help you understand why mental health and wellness is so important. But again, before we do that, we will get into the show sponsor part of the show, and we'll get right into our conversation. So with that being said, we want to thank everybody that puts forth effort and sponsors and pours into this show. We've been going now for about 2.5 years, going on 3 years, man, and I can say honestly that the experience has been nothing but amazing, with all the different businesses that I've been able to get connections with and have on the show, and the individuals and organizations, man, it's been really cool. So this show is sponsored by none other and powered by Dad Chronicles. For those of you who know me, that is my 501c3 organization where we look to do things similar to what we're doing today. We want to pour into our kids and fill the gap. And allow them to understand that they can pretty much do whatever they want to do. But we try to do that through allowing our men to step up, and they know that the younger folks are watching them. So if you're stepping up, doing what you need to do, then you're going to be having someone looking at you, and hopefully it motivates them to be the best that they can be. So that's what it's all about. So check out Dad Chronicles, go visit the website. And I do have to slow down and get that website updated because I've said it over and over and over again. It's getting to a point where it's kind of outdated, but there's a lot that we are doing in the community, and we definitely want you guys to see that. So we will be updating that website pretty soon. So also we want to give a shout out to Diamond Fit Nutrition, man. Y'all get y'all drinks, man. Diamond Fit Nutrition. If you haven't been here, you definitely want to get your teas and shakes and get associated with this place of business. They have awesome energy. So big shouts out to my sister, Tawana Lewis, who's the CEO over here, and the awesome team, Miss Teddy, who's here today serving the drinks and helping us out. But man, when you come over here, you're definitely going to leave with a new sense of energy and a new sense of purpose. If it ain't from the energy that you receive from them, it'll definitely be from the drinks that you're drinking while you're here. So big shouts out to Diamond Fit Nutrition. Go follow them on their Instagram at Diamond Fit Nutrition, as you see scrolling at the bottom of the screen, and let them know the Reach Podcast Show sent you. So as everybody's getting tuned in, what's going on, Mama? As usual, she's always locked in and paying attention to what's going on. So I appreciate you, sweetheart. That's my queen right there. So big shouts out to Mom. And the next is, we want to give purpose to a lot of different things. So I'm excited to announce the partnership with WBP Radio and my man Tibbs, who's basically the head of the show out here. And we're trying to break the show here in the Houston area. They are out of Atlanta. It's called We Break Purpose Radio. So WBP Radio, anytime you see this logo, you definitely know that we're standing behind them. And it's a radio station that's about positive hip hop and also gospel music. So, download that, go to the store, the app store, get connected with the WBP Radio, and also leave them a survey is what they call it. Leave them a survey, fill out the survey, tell them what you think about the show, and they'll be obliged to get those comments and make the necessary adjustments that they need to make. So we appreciate you guys doing that. Next, we'd like to highlight another company that I've been highlighting for the longest, and that's none other than my sis and her team over there at Candace Joseph and the Joseph Consulting Firm. They are doing some major things and helping a lot of people launch their dreams and launch their businesses. So, just get connected with them. If you have a business idea that you are trying to bring to the forefront, you can definitely go to the website that you see scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Tell them the Reach Podcast Show sent you, and they'll definitely help you with everything that you're trying to bring to the forefront. If you've been in business for a while, they can still help you out. They'll help you improve things, make the necessary adjustments that you need to do. And one of the biggest things that they are doing now, if you're looking for marketing, they are dealing with digital billboards. So just imagine your company being up on the freeway on a digital billboard. Candace Joseph and the Joseph Consulting Firm is definitely the company that you can go to for the best pricing and the best opportunity to get your business branded and marketed in such a way. Also, definitely want to highlight this other company that we will be in their building this coming weekend, actually tomorrow, and that is the Honey Bee On Studios. Big shouts out to my cousin, family-owned business over there. And so when you see this logo, you'll definitely know that this is the place that we're talking about. We're going to have an exciting time over there tomorrow. But if you are looking to have an event or need an event space, you definitely want to go to Honey Bee On Studios over in Missouri City, Texas. Follow the website that you see scrolling at the bottom of the screen, and they will definitely get you what you need to get. And definitely a large space can hold plenty of people. I think it's over 200 capacity or whatever. So for your next event, if you're looking for a place to go, again, go to Honey Bee On Studios, and they will definitely help you out and get you going with your next event. And before we get off of that subject, you definitely want to come over there tomorrow night, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. and check out the wonderful poetry night that we have going on. And I keep calling it a poetry night, and when I tell you, I can no longer call it a poetry night, man. I'm calling this thing a poetry extravaganza. We have so many dope artists and poets that are going to be part of the show tomorrow. As you can see, it's going to be hosted by my girl, Miss Poetry Liv. And if you know just her, she's just the host, man. I mean, we have a bunch of other poets that are going to be rocking the show, doing their thing, and you don't want to miss it. The doors are going to open at 7 o'clock. The show will start at 8 o'clock. It's going to go from 8 to 11. And you want to be part of it. We have some special things that'll be going on over there tomorrow, too. So you definitely want to come and check us out for the poetry extravaganza is what I'm calling it. And it is what we call Last Friday's Poetry Night. So for everybody who's been part of this journey with the Reach Podcast Show, man, you understand that this past Black History Month in February, I came up with the idea of having poets featured on there and speaking on a Black author or Black event or something as it relates to the Black community. And so it started from there. It turned into a poetry night over at the Black Store. Big shouts out to them for hosting the first few poetry nights. But the point is, it has grown so much that we had to get a larger venue, and we have so many people trying to be a part of it. And tomorrow culminates the whole idea and exactly what I envisioned when I started the poetry night, having these dope artists come under one roof. And the biggest thing is, man, it is only $10. You cannot find a show like this just for $10, man. Y'all come out and have a great time with us. We're going to have hookahs, we'll have mixed drinks, we'll have food, we're going to have some vendors, we'll have my man live painting out there. So you're definitely going to have a dope time, and you'll also get to witness the poetry that we'll have on display from these wonderful artists. So again, come out to the Honey Bee On Studios tomorrow night, 7 to 11 p.m. And the doors will open at 7 and the show will start at 8. So do not miss Last Friday's Poetry Night on tomorrow. And then just let them know that you came to support the Reach Podcast Show. That's what it's all about, and all of these different artists that'll be there tomorrow. So we appreciate you in advance for showing up, man. So a couple more announcements, but I'm going to do that a little bit later in the show. So today is a little bit different for me, man. So for everybody on the Southwest, man, I got to start this show out by saying God rest the soul of my man, Mr. Ali D.C. Dotton. Found out he passed away yesterday. For those who are tapped in, passed away last night, stage 4 cancer. And, if you know DC, man, he was a wonderful individual, funny cat, but he'll go missing on you, and got a chance to speak with his mom this morning, a couple family members. And it relates to mental health and wellness for me. You know, you don't want to put people in your business. You don't want to drag people down, and you don't want people feeling sorry for you. We totally understand that. But the thing for me is, there's nothing wrong with reaching out. There's nothing wrong with allowing people to understand what you're going through sometime. And that's what's so important for me about this show, just on so many different levels, just talking about mental health and wellness. So to kind of get into the flow, Trevion hit me up about what, week or two ago, in a couple weeks or whatever.
Yeah, I think like 2 weeks.
And so he was like, "Hey, Pop," he was like, "Man, I want to talk to you about coming on the show and just, I got so much going on in my head. I want to talk." And, you know, and I'm just listening because what he didn't know is I already had some things going on that relates to what he was talking about. And we'll announce those things again in a minute. And so I'm just listening. And so before he was able to finish, he was really talking about mental health and wellness. He was like, "Man, it's just so important. People understand that." And I'm just like, that's absolutely correct. So I was able to let him know about the new podcast show that we'll be launching, and I'll put up the graphics in a minute, but it's called the Mind Matters Podcast Show. And I guess I'll just go ahead and do it right now. And we're excited to announce that we'll be launching next week, you know, at 6:30 p.m. We're going to be having it streaming live, just as we have the Reach Podcast Show. The Reach Podcast Show is not going anywhere. It will still be here every Thursday, 10 a.m. to noon. But we will be doing the Mind Matters Podcast Show every Thursday in the evening, starting at 6:30. So with that being said, the whole thing for me was like, this young man is, and how old are you, Trey? 20 years old. We're living in different times right now, right? And everybody understands that things we have going on highly relates to the mental health and wellness of everybody, and let alone our young individuals as they try to navigate through life and figure out the things that they're doing. And so I thought it was really cool that he reached out to me, number one, thought enough of me to reach out to me. Two, want to talk about a topic that's so sensitive just to our young black men and black men in general, and was bold enough to get out here and get on the podcast show. So before I go any further, I'd like for you to again introduce yourself and give us an idea of what you was going through or what you was thinking, like what made you even want to do that.
First off, I'm Trey. How y'all doing, kings and queens? Man, the journey that a lot of young people is going through is crazy, and it done got to a point to where a lot of people, I feel, try to hide it and try to hold it in, use it as some type of aggression towards the world, that motivation to push forward, which nothing is wrong with it, but I mean, I feel like it's a certain way to go about it. So I feel that young black men especially are targeted when it comes to saying how they feel, saying how they feel during the time of their journey, what they're going through. They try to hold it in. They end up doing crazy things. They move differently. When it's like, I feel the simple way to do it is to step back and just flow with life. You know, you have to enjoy it for what it is, because you could stress during your journey that everybody is going through, or you could make the best of it and have fun with it. But I feel like a lot of people don't have the right mindset to do that. But I feel like we should start making it a habit to be able to speak on how you feel and be able to help the people that's coming up after us, and even people that's older than us, because when I talk to people that's older than me too, and everybody can learn. You're never too old to learn, I feel.
Yeah, that's huge. And so to bring this to a main point is then we have Dr. P, right? And so the Mind Matters Podcast Show is, I would say, it's mainly her baby, because she had came to me, I think it had been a couple months before that, and was telling me, you know, she wants to do a show and it's about mental health and wellness. And, you know, for those of you who follow the show, you know, she really wants to move into the mindset of being a full-time author, been a psychologist for 20 plus years, and her mental health is related to her being able to be free of what she does professionally and get into what she loves, right? And so I then told her about what Trevion said. And so, long story short, here we are today, right? So that's kind of the short idea of what this show is about today. Allowing this young man to speak from the younger generation, speak to the younger generation, also speak from a young African American male's point of view, and then be able to have someone present and give professional opinions and also not professional opinions, professional information and also personal opinions of what he's talking about. And it's not about trying to diagnose him or this, that, and the other, but it's simply what the Reach Podcast Show at the core is all about, sharing and trying to reach everybody wherever they are. And I think that this show right here couldn't be a better example of why I do what I do. And, it's so many people have reached out in different ways, and it keeps reminding me that just keep doing what you're doing, right? We're going to launch our show next week on November 4th. And again, for those who know me, y'all know that that'll be the 1-year anniversary of my grandmother passing. And so when we planned the show and we decided on November 4th, I wasn't even thinking about it at the time. So it's just so important to understand and be aware of everything really relates to your mental health and wellness. So that's why I spoke about my boy, my homeboy, man, who we lost. God rest his soul. It was so much just with that situation where it's like, man, we really got to get a hold of our mental health and wellness, man. So I want to welcome everybody who chimes into this. Share this live, man, seriously, because we're going to get into a conversation, and we just being open and free. And also want you guys to understand that that's what the Mind Matters podcast show that we're going to start next week, every Thursday evening, is all about. So you definitely want to tune in. And let me say this. Mental health and wellness is something that everybody in the world deals with, no matter if you're from Japan, Australia, wherever. Mental health and wellness is definitely something that, that everybody deals with. But on the Mind Matters podcast show and on the Reach podcast show, we talking about our people. We talking about our Black and brown people. So, if you're not of Black and brown descent, it's not that you can't relate. It's not that you can't chime in. It's not that you can't give us your opinions. But we have to look after and take care of our people, and that's our goal. So it's no offense to anybody. Chime in and tune in. So with that being said, I just wanted to lay a little foundation. Dr. P, introduce yourself, man. Let people know who you are. And I know you're psychologist today. So.
Yes, I'm a psychologist today. Yes. I am Dr. Rashida P. I've been a psychologist for over 20 years, and I've been working with the youth even longer than that. And I just want to piggyback on what Trevion said, or what Trey said when he talked about with African American males, and that is so true what he's saying. But African American men, especially little boys, they show their sadness through anger. So if you have a child that's fighting all the time or angry all the time, they're really sad. And because they're not allowed to express that sadness, I mean, if you think about it, even from real little, if a boy cries, you're like, man up, don't do that. They're already taught real young, it's not appropriate to cry. And so, or feel sad. So when they start feeling emotions, like, I don't know what I'm dealing with this, so then they become angry. And so then we're dealing with a lot of anger youth, and as you said, they're acting outside of themselves or not acting the norm. And so what I want to pose to Trey is why are you different? Why are you like, I want to express myself, as opposed to what the norm is, which you don't, most people don't, especially young Black men.
Because I feel like I'm chosen with it. I'm able to sit back and look at my journey as, man, this is fun, man, this is enjoyable. And then realizing like everybody goes through it. Everybody gonna go through the same, well, not the same thing. Everybody gonna go through a journey. It's just all upon how you handle it. And the best way of handling it first starts off with your mental health, because that's what's gonna carry you through your journey the right way and be able to come out with a smile on your face and show that it can't let me phase you really. But I feel like it's not even just men and young boys. It's girls too, but they show their emotions through different things too. It's a lot to go into it.
Okay, but I'm curious, what called you to, what should I say, what made you call?
Me living through it, me going through the journey right now, me going days where I'm smiling and then turning around and being frustrated and realizing like, man, like even though we human, it's gonna happen. Like you have no choice but to sometimes feel like there's no breakthrough. But it's all about how you shake back from it and what you tell yourself. Like a lot of times when I go through things, I tell myself it happened for a reason. Like this happened for a better reason, for a better cause. But yeah, man, my journey is what's holding me, what called me to talk to you and talk to everybody else about how to hold your head up through everything.
That's what's up. So I guess my question to you would be, what are some of the topics? What's something like a message you want people to get from watching you today? What do you want them to take away?
Knowing that failure is the biggest step to your success. That's one of the biggest things for me.
That's a good one. Failure.
It'll grow you a lot. It'll grow you up a lot.
So what you're saying is, you gonna fail.
You gonna fail,
and it's okay.
It's perfectly fine.
Listen, I don't know if I told both of y'all. I know I told Dr. P. I'm finna sit back. This your show.
Whatever.
You gonna be the host today.
It's called the Reach Podcast.
So go ahead, speak to that. Talk to the young man.
Okay.
Or not necessarily talking to him, but the audience,
as
it relates to what he just said, because that's so true.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to even make it even more personal. Can you give us a more specific example, if you're comfortable, about an example of something that you experienced and you worked it through? Because people want to know exactly, because what you might say, someone listening could relate to. So if you don't mind sharing, whatever you want to share, feel comfortable sharing, something that you personally experienced, that you feel like you're still on that journey or you past that now.
It's like just growing up with a single mom and watching her hustle and watching her grind and watching her push through and watching her not show try not to show emotion towards the things that she has going on and being strong. It pushes me to want to do better and want to do more for her and my little sister and the people around me that I love. So in going through that, I never really had the real male role model to actually like show me the way through, from growing up to as being an adult. Like my mom showed me everything, but it's still the man side of it that I have to learn now on my own. But it's like being out in the world now, being out of high school and just being free, but you're trying to grow at the same time. It's like you're trying to grow and teach yourself things at the same time, but that comes with a lot of failure. So you want a job that's paying money so you could take care of yourself and be able to give your mom money on the side and do all these things. But what I had to learn was you gotta be patient with it. Like everything's gonna come in the right time, but as in going through it, it's like, dang, like nothing's happening. Why I can't get nothing to break from? Like why I can't get nothing to shake? But that never lasts long with me because it's like, man, that's just a test. Like it's just to make you stronger. It's to build you up. So after telling myself that, it's like that's my push for the next day and attacking the world with the right mindset of, this is temporary. This is temporary failure. This is temporary feelings. Like everything's gonna be good. You're gonna be able to do the things you want to do. So my bad. But
no, you're good. You're good.
It just come up with losing jobs and not having the transportation to get around and do the things that you want to do. It all starts to play tricks with your mind. It's like you're not getting nowhere, and you start to ask yourself, what's your purpose? It plays a lot of mind games with you, but you have to be able to sit back and tell yourself, like, this is temporary. The failure is temporary. It's gonna make you stronger. So
I'm glad you're saying that, because what you're feeling now, you will feel throughout your life. It's not something that is just as, a young man growing up. There are going to be times throughout your life. I know I have those feelings throughout my life. Even people think, oh, you got a PhD, you set. But I still go through with different things hitting me, and I'm like, okay, why didn't this work for me? Or why didn't that work for me? And you can find yourself, doubting.
Right.
I got two questions for you, and I'm going to try to remember. This is where I have issues. I sometimes forget my question. But the first
interrupt him next time and get your question out.
Okay.
Do that.
Okay. In terms of how do you think not having a father affected you as a young man? just in, if you can make it, I don't know, if you could think of one word, two words to describe, this is how I feel growing up without my father.
It started out with me being angry, and that's why I say, like, when I was younger, I failed the second grade because going through the things that I was going through, I was just angry. I was angry at everything. I didn't care. I was just going to class. Like, I went from having good grades and doing everything good to just being angry. And the older I got, it's like, nah, I forgive him. But then it's like, nah, but I wish he was still here. Like, I have to go around looking at the next man and his child and being like, dang, I wish my dad was here. But it made me stronger. Now being an adult, I love him and I forgive him. I know that we all human. Like, people can go through things. It don't matter how old you is. Like, things could shake in the blink of an eye. But as growing up, I didn't know that. I didn't have nobody to tell me that, everything gonna be all right. Like you say, like, growing up, you cry. Nah, it's no crying. It's people telling you, like, you a grown man. Like, I mean, not you a grown man,
yeah,
but you growing up. Like, you don't need to be doing all that crying and stuff. But it's like, how do I show out my emotions without being angry?
We have emotions for a reason, and and I know we try to,
talk about that. You talked about the epidemic of teaching our young men not to cry.
Yes, that is such an epic. I remember saying this one time, and I wanted to go run to this father and praise him. This was some years ago, and his son was like maybe 4 or 5, and he fell, and he hurt his leg, and he just started crying. And I'm used to men saying, boy, stop all that, you fine, or not. But he literally went to him and just hugged him, just rubbed his back until he calmed down. And I was like, I never see that. And I was like, this is what should happen more often, because they're no different than girls. Like, when babies are born, boys and girls cry equally. It's not like boys come into the world not crying and girls do. Right. It's like they come in, this is how they communicate. They cry when they need something. Right. But because of social norms, we are taught that if a boy is crying or if he's weak, he's a punk, whatever names we come up with, and it's okay for the girls to cry. But at the same time, if you fall and hurt yourself, if you are a child, you're going to cry. Right. But as a boy, if you're taught over and over again, I can't cry because I'm a punk, I'm this and that, then you have all these emotions that you can't explain because I'm listening to you talk and I hear the sadness in your voice. Right. But as a little boy, you acted it out probably as anger as opposed to walking. Like you said, people wouldn't allow you to cry, and if you wanted to. Right. Of course, you miss your dad. We see other kids hanging out with their fathers, and you're like, why can't I? That is what gets most kids is noticing. Right. And like you said, you were second grade. Like, you might not have noticed it when you were younger, but the older you got, you start looking around and saying, why is my life different? Right. What was about me that my father can't be in my life like these other kids are? Right.
Now, so here's my question. So, as a younger kid, or to him right now, or somebody else that's listening, you being a psychologist, being a professional, you can't change the fact of what he went through, or you can't change the fact that the dad is not going to show up tomorrow, whatever the case may be on another person's mental health journey. What advice do you give as far as like trying to cope? What is something you would tell them?
What I usually tell, because again, this has been a situation I've had a lot with, because I've worked with you for a long time, especially Black males. And one thing I do tell is focus on what you do have. And often people do have, luckily, in most cases, people have good mamas. There's some people who don't have either, and I, definitely pray for them. But for those who have good mothers and good role models and other aspects, that's what you focus on. Like, this is what I do have. And you pull on those strengths. You pull on the fact that, being able to even tell a little boy, like, you know what, it is not you. It is your father who made that decision not to be involved in your life. Because I've told kids this. When they're like, why? It's like, I know you don't quite understand, but I'm going to keep saying it to you. And I hope your family keeps saying it to you. That is not you. Mm-hmm. It is not you at all. Mm-hmm. It's whatever your dad was dealing with or not wanting to deal with. And hopefully one day you have a conversation with him. May or may not. Where you can actually sit there and say, this is what happened. But it is about you believing in yourself and that you're here for a reason. Right. And it is about what is my purpose, bottom line. You're here now. Yeah. So it's like, so what is it going forward? Instead of being stuck in the past and being stuck on why my father wasn't there, as opposed to these are people who are here.
Right. And shouts out to Raven White. What's going on, lady? I see you tuned in. I appreciate your comment, because I was getting ready to say that too, because you said, hopefully you have good mothers. So then it becomes like, well, what about the people who don't have either parent? And it's exactly what you see on the screen right now. Because what I would like to talk about more, since we're talking about mental health and wellness, is it starts with you. Like, look within, and think about what you do well, because even people that have low self-esteem, that don't think enough of themselves, there's something that they can find within themselves that that can make them happy. And I think that's a lot of why people always say, well, what are you good at? Find what you're good at, and then that puts you on a journey of trying to figure out what you want to do. What would you say in regards to that, Dr. P?
That's the main thing. I'm always like finding like you're saying, that's what's keeping you going. It's like you are enjoying the journey.
Right.
You've recognized that it's not just the end point, it's the whole process that you have to enjoy. And it really is once you decide what is my purpose. And if you are grown, it's about finding your purpose. If you're a little child, it's about you as family members trying to help your children figure out what their purpose is. Some kids come in the world, you know exactly what they're going to be. They come in just gifted in something, but you don't have to figure it out. Some gifted in school, some gifted in music, academics, art, whatever. Then you have those kids who are like, I have no idea what my child is good at. And so you have to cultivate that, because once you have that purpose, it just makes your life so much easier. Once you really understand what that strength is and you cultivate that strength, it does make your life a little easier. So one of the reasons why, we're doing the podcast, the Mind Matters podcast, is to help people really start thinking about, the next generation. We talked a little bit about it beforehand. We talked about your struggles with not having a father. And I'm like, why are we still having this conversation?
Right.
Because so many people in the Black community grew up without their fathers. And I'm like, okay, why is it still going? Because that means somebody is a father who didn't grow up with a father, and they're still doing it to their child. So at what point do we break that cycle of you need to be involved in your child's life, period? Whether you want to be the mother or not, it doesn't matter. It's about being there for your child, because that's who needs you more than the mother does. It's that child who needs you.
Right, absolutely. So Trev, and I know Trev personally, right? So I got a lot of things going through my mind in regards to different things. I guess I think I would venture to say that the whole basketball thing is another big thing that's weighs heavy on you, and being someone who that's what you want to do.
Right.
And I'm assuming still want to do, right?
Yeah.
So it's not too late, right? I used to always tell you that, it's not too late, never too late. Let's talk about that and what that looks like. This screen is doing all kind of stuff, right? Yeah. So what it looks like to not have realized the dream that you grew up and that's all you wanted to do. And then shouts out to Brianna. I heard she made the varsity team as a freshman. So big shouts out to her. Miss Shelby, she out there balling and doing her thing. So now you have yourself the older brother, right? And I'm just painting a scenario.
Right.
You're the older sibling. You trying to set the tone. You supposed to be the one playing basketball, and then now you got your little sister. Even though she ain't graduated high school yet, she's really balling, doing her thing, and you're trying to get to a certain level, and you're not really able to do that. Speak on that, whether it is an issue or not, how that makes you feel, because I guarantee there are so many individuals dealing with just that same exact scenario. And what do you tell yourself, or is there anything you need encouragement on?
Nah. Okay. I mean, well, yeah, because, people always need encouragement. I don't care how much you can pipe on here. But I want to go back to when you said finding your purpose. I want to say, as I got closer to God and realizing that he got you, like, you pray, he got you. He's going to take care of you, his child. So as far as finding your purpose, I would say I just kind of flow with it now. I feel like finding your purpose is like the main stress with a lot of people in the way they think and carry themselves too, because it's like you stress yourself on trying to see, dang, well, what do I like doing? Now you're trying to rush yourself to do something and all kind of things. But I feel like social media plays a big part in that too.
Huge.
Because, that was
next. Like, especially with basketball, with me being in high school, like, I'm a good basketball player, but playing against people that's also good, but I know I'm better than, that's getting recruited to, go to better schools and stuff. It plays a toll on you. Then you on social media, and that makes it worse.
In what ways? And again, I know you probably know, Dr. P definitely knows, but what makes it worse on social media? To really speak on the point. What makes it worse?
You then start comparing yourself. You start comparing yourself to people highlights and people. Well, yeah, basically just people highlights. Like, it's not it's not all about that. That's not their real life. They just have somebody recording the good things that they got going on. And so back then, I'm not thinking of that. I'm thinking,
no, hold on. And I'm sorry, and I'm doing it this way to make people relate. You said, as far as basketball and sports, you start comparing yourself to people's highlights.
Right.
So young ladies, they see all these beautiful women, they start comparing themselves to these beautiful women.
So now you
boys comparing themselves to the guys that's flashing money all day, the fancy cars, the guys with the muscles, the girls in the bikinis.
Right.
Why don't have what they have?
Right. So then going back to the comparing yourself, now you trying to be somebody you're not. And so now that throws your mind off because now you don't even know yourself because you're trying to be somebody that you're not. You're trying to compare yourself to people who have the things or don't really. People highlight. I'm not gonna say that. People highlight.
I'm glad you said that because people do portray the best of their lives,
right.
And sometimes it's fake life, and sometimes it is a real life, but they're only portraying that part, not what headaches or the heartache of. Some people actually post when things are going bad. Sometimes they do.
Very few. Yeah,
they might say like I'm going through something, but nobody ever says what it is. I'm going through something. Pray for me.
It reminds me of, and not to cut you off, like the people that promote the bad stuff. It kind of reminds me of I think it's called the Bonnet Chronicles or something. You have the young ladies that ain't scared to get on there with their bonnets and talk about this, but even that becomes fake. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like still orchestrated type deal. But anyway, go ahead. It's like that part trips me out, but the genuineness of what really goes on from day to day is the part that I'm talking about. And the comparison, Trev, that is huge, and so
that's what I was going to say.
It's
leading to suicide. It's almost like what you said. When we hear, you see people who are already getting their riches at 19, 20. It's like it's different now than from when I was growing up. I didn't have the extra pressure. We could be broke and poor forever. Nobody cared. Now, if you don't have anything, everyone's looking like, "What's wrong with you?
Can't get on social media.
You can't. Yeah, like why you don't post? What's going on? You must not have a life, because you're not posting." And it is different, and you do find yourself comparing, and then you feel like, "What? I need to find my purpose." Like right now, kind of what you just said. Like I got to figure this out right now because if I found purpose, then it's gonna bring me riches. But that is not the point of finding your purpose. Your purpose, whatever that purpose might be, and you might have several. If it fulfills you, makes you your best person, and then you're able to deal with what life brings you when you kind of know who you are, centers you. And that is the point of it. When people, it's not about if I figure out what I'm gonna do with my life. That means it's deeper than that, and I think social media
it fully throws people off, especially young generation, because when you look up everybody on their phone, everybody, older people, younger people,
everybody.
So then you got older people, then that's like they looking at it too, and then they mind thrown out because this person got it better, and I'm here, I can't do this with my kids, I can't do that. But it's like, I don't know, I feel like we should all take breaks from social media and really get your mental right, because there's nothing wrong with social media, but for a person who's not mentally ready for it, it could be really destructive to that person's mind and the way they think and the way they carry themselves. And once you take a break from it, work on self-care and work on really, getting your body right, getting your money right, then when you come back, it's like your mind, you're in a better position to think. Like you're not thinking, you got yourself together now. So it's like you can use it to laugh at it, to motivation. Just, you're not thinking of it as, oh, well, they could do this and I can't do it. So now I got to put myself in. Now you're digging a deeper hole for yourself.
So let me ask you this. Do you think it's possible not to compare yourself? You know what I mean? Do you think that's even possible?
It's very possible. It's possible not. I don't know, because
that's a hard one.
Yeah, that's kind of hard. But I would say it's possible to get on social media and be able to use it as motivation for you. Like instead of comparing, be like, one day I'm going to get there. One day I'll be able to do this. Let me keep grinding to do that. Use that as motivation. You can't use it as motivation.
It reminds me of the quote, nothing's bad, just do everything in moderation. It reminds me of that. But look, in respect of time, Trevor, because I know you got a certain time limit, right? So what else is on your mind? Like what other topics in regards to this that you want to make sure we talk about? Like I said, this is your flow, man. What else? It's
all about you. We here because
I want to say too, with defining yourself, that really helps you out a lot because it's like once you find yourself, you can now help the next person in a better state of mind. Like the child coming up behind you, instead of going up to somebody and saying, "What's good, ma?" How we usually come up.
Mm-hmm.
You could change your way of communication and showing them that it's a different way to handle things. I meet you at the gas station. I got tattoos and stuff, so off the rip, I automatically come to you as I come off to you as a threat.
Mm-hmm.
But when I approach you and I say, "How you doing, King? How you doing, Queen?" That I feel like that changes your mindset and how you then look at people and how you approach people and how you it gives a better perception of you and the people coming behind you. So it's that, man. It's all kind of thing. My mind going everywhere. And
because you have a lot to say and a lot of voice. But one thing you did say that I thought was important. You are aware of how you are perceived by others.
Right.
Like you said, like I know I'm tatted up, so if I walk in, people might. But then when I greet them, I'm putting them at ease.
Right.
And sometimes it is about that. Cause you know how we got the stereotype of being, like if we're in a store, people looking at us or watching us more. And so one time I kept, that person better not watch me as I'm walking around the store. Right. I'm looking at them, and I'm like, they probably looking at me because I keep looking at them. I'm making myself look more suspicious because I'm not
there for no reason.
Exactly, because I'm falling into the stereotype,
right,
and not realizing how my behavior is affecting someone else.
Right.
So the fact that you at 20 years old, becoming more aware.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you say you want to do psychology. So I want to ask you that. Like when you say that, like when you say I think I want to do psychology, in what way?
Because I just want to get deeper into how I read people's minds. I mean, not read people's minds, but how I could help people out as far as thinking. Like, this is one form, but getting deeper into it and actually triggering what is the real trauma that caused you to now carry yourself the way you carry yourself. I really want to do better at it, and I really want to get to know more about it and be able to help the people around me and that's younger than me, just make an impact on the world, break the cycle that's here and make it to where, us as Black people, we are comfortable with knowing that we're human. Like you could talk to the next person, you could say what's going on with you. It's not bad to actually let the stuff out and communicate, and it's not bad to do that, but I feel like we are in survival mode, and I feel like that's what's really the problem. We all in that survival mode mind instead of a loving, genuine mindset.
Absolutely. So look, Dr. P, put you on the spot, right? So, I don't know if Trev saw your story or heard your story, but you just asked him, what does he mean about psychology? Tell the story of why you've been a psychologist. Go all the way back and tell the viewers and tell him and explain why you do what you do.
Yes.
And then you can answer his question or whatever.
Yes. For me, it's kind of like what you said, just trying to understand myself more. Like I could say a couple of things. The main thing is, I remember being sad a lot growing up, like just constant sadness. But there was nothing really in my life that I could constitute that would say that would make me sad.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just felt like different from everybody, kind of out of the loop, if you will.
Right.
And I was quiet. I remember that being real quiet, not talking to people. When I was 10 years old, I was real smart, and teacher asked me, "You want to be in the gifted program?"
Right.
Raise your hand if you want to. I raised my hand, so I put my hand down, and I'm like, "Why would she tell me that?"
Right.
She doesn't think I'm smart.
Right.
So and it was a white woman telling me this.
Right.
So I spent most of my life channeling like I'm not smart enough, I'm not good enough. That was in my head. And it wasn't until when I ended up going to college, and I only went to college because I didn't want to work at KFC. So that was the whole idea at that time, because my father was like, if you don't go, you're going to end up at this KFC full time like you already are, and you hate it. So I went to college.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I did, because when I went, I took an intro to psychology class, and all of a sudden it made sense to me. It was like, what? This is what because my teacher the very first day said, what are you going to do for the Black community?
Right.
And I'm looking at her like, what you mean I'm going to do for the Black community? I don't even know what that means.
Right.
And she was like, we are here for a purpose.
Right.
So what are you going to do to help the Black community? And right then, because I was originally a journalism major, I was into writing and all of that, and it was like, oh, I'm like, this is
aha moment.
Yeah, yes. Like I I want to figure out. Then I started learning, like, I want to figure out myself. Like, why was I sad a lot when I couldn't? I hear other people's story. I'm like, oh, they have reason to be sad, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have anything, but I felt it.
Right.
And so being in psychology kind of helped me understand myself, my emotions, why I did the things, why I think the way I think, and help, I guess, heal myself. And so then it became about, okay, how can I help other people so that they're not feeling like I felt, so that they have a different journey than what I had.
Right.
So, and that's what it sounds like, your purpose and anything about going in, because it really is about understanding ourselves. If people don't know, of course, sight comes from Africa, like everything comes from Africa.
Right.
But ancient Kemet, which used to be Egypt, called Egypt now, but back then, they talked about the psyche, the mind, and how powerful it is.
Yeah, it's very powerful.
And so let me say this too, in consideration of the fact that we're talking about mental health and wellness, and we're talking about things of the mind. Part of your statement was you went to college because you didn't want to work at KFC, right? And so with me thinking about that and understanding, there's absolutely nothing wrong with working at KFC, right?
I don't want to say that. Okay,
because
definitely
we
say that.
We did a partnership and are still in partnership with Chick-fil-A, right?
Yes.
And so this, like, some people are they heard it and it just flew by, and then I guarantee you there's somebody out there that may own a KFC, may be, in relationship with KFC or whatever, any type of fast food restaurant. The point I'm trying to make is that there's nothing wrong with that, because if we think about it differently, you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. So if you approach working at a fast food restaurant, you'll get into the mindset of entrepreneurship. You'll get in the mind of ownership, and it's absolutely you'll love owning a bunch of restaurants at that point. Rick Ross owns a whole bunch of Wingstops. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to make that statement.
No, I appreciate that, because I've known people who work their way through. I'm just saying, because I was a bumbling idiot.
It wasn't your thing.
I was a bumbling idiot. I was horrible at it. Like, I messed up all the orders on the drive-thru, and it's like, put on the fries. She can't do it. And I just felt like the dumbest person ever. I could not handle it. And I was like, is this going to be my life? I can't, so, but that's it, but definitely. And I'm glad that he did that disclaimer, because no job is more important than you can do any job.
And again, it's just all about finding what works for you. And like you said, it wasn't for you.
That was my motivator, because otherwise I wasn't going to college. That was my motivator. It really was.
Everything happens for a
It
reason.
did. Exactly. I had that job just to say no from school.
Yeah.
Right. I know. Wait.
He said, wait.
Wait, but what else to go ahead with?
Yeah, no. So you was just on talking about why he chose to do it and why you got into psychology and all that. And I just want him to hear that story to help him understand that at his age, I mean, really at any age, a lot of things are defining moments, right? And so just opening your ears and your brain up to, man, the defining moments of what you're going through. Now you have a connection and a resource that's strictly related to the things you've been dealing with. It could be one of a whole bunch of things. Now it could just be somebody you go to just for you. You might not want to do it no more. You might go to back to the athletic side of it and just pour yourself into that. And now you have a resource that can help you with the mental health and wellness. Or she may be someone that can help you get further into the field of psychology.
Exactly.
You just never know.
They have sports psychologists, that's what they do. Their whole goal is to help athletes be better at what they do, because it's a mental game.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I say everything happens for a reason. Because like you said before, basketball didn't fully work out for me yet, but it's a reason why. So I do have a little sister that just made varsity as a freshman. She coming up behind me. She watches everything I do. So
yes,
now it's like,
Trev, get to do it.
now it's like,
and I hope you understand why I used to tell you certain things, like it's important. You got to think about everything. She gonna watch everything.
Yeah, for sure. But that's another thing too. I feel like a lot of young black males can't take constructive criticism, and they take it the wrong way when it's really to help you. I used to have an uncle yelling at me all the time, like, man, why does man keep yelling at me? Like, what's wrong with him? But now he's not here, and now it's like he was trying to grow me up. Like he was helping me to become a better man. Like he was telling me the things that he was telling me to better me. So I feel like that's a big part of it too. But back to being able to help my little sister, it's a blessing for me now to see. But when I first was going through everything I was going through, I became angry and stressed out again, and it's like, why? But then you gotta just step back and realize everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And that reason could be for anything. When you say finding your purpose, I feel like you should just flow through life and let the things happen. Let the things that happen, and it's gonna guide you. Like if you pray to God, He's gonna guide you through everything that you're asking for. You just gotta be patient and willing to, go through the things that He's putting you through for you to see the bigger picture in the end.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
and that's huge. I got 2 points I want to cover before you have to get out of here. One, we'll just go with the God thing. You're talking about God. Like it's so many different things that's acceptable and not acceptable in the world today. People talk about this and they talk about that. But, to your generation, because you speak strongly on it, and there's a bunch of different faiths and beliefs and stuff like that. But finding that higher being for you, what does that do for you? What does that mean to you in regards to knowing that your power, your strength, and protection, all that comes from somewhere else? What would you tell someone who doesn't really understand that or see that? What would you say to them?
I would say great stress will cause you to begin to look for either great peace or easy way out. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm not giving up. So, of course, I'm going to look for peace. And what brings me peace is calming down, meditating, talking to God or anybody that it's no specific God, but, I feel like once you talk to God and really pour your emotions out to Him, you can't talk to anybody. You can talk to Him. Mm-hmm. So talking to Him and just releasing all the things that you want to accomplish and letting it be. That was my biggest thing. Praying to Him, telling Him what I want, and just letting it be, and and continuing to find myself in the process and understand myself in the process. Like, it made everything speed up a little faster. And so then once you actually get to where you want to be at, like, you smile and you laugh at it because it's like, dang, that's what all this was for? Like, God
so
worked.
It reminds me, you ever had somebody tell you, he might not come when you want him to, right, but he always on time.
Right on time. He'll be right on time. So that's the best way to look at it. That's how I look at it. So, if it don't happen, if I don't get this job or if this coach don't pick me up, it was meant for me not to be there. Yeah. It was meant for me to go do something else.
Absolutely. And I'll speak on that a little bit more. And Dr. P, you chime in if you want to, too. And I got one other topic. I know you got to get out of here, Trey. Is, with that being, he might not come when you want to, but he always on time. And shout out to my mom. Trey, you already know, my mom. And, we both have strong mothers that has brought us up. And one of the things that I think about a lot is, she claims I rush a lot, right? I'm just like, I ain't rushing. I just got a lot to do, Right. But, for example, if you come outside, your tires flat, right. You run it, you going down the street, there's traffic. You have to take a detour. Right. This podcast, we run over the time that you plan on getting out. And now it changes up your flow of the day. Right. The thing that people don't think about is that could be God preventing an accident that's happening. It could prevent you from running off the road. It could prevent a drive-by shooting that you would have been in and you wasn't even the target. Like, so we have to really pay attention and be mindful of everything. Right. And again, it goes back to, he might not come when you want to, but he's always on time. So there's always a purpose of why things are happening the way they're happening. And God works in mysterious ways, right? So, Dr. P, what you want to say?
No, I was just paying back.
I could go in on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
With basketball, too. Basketball, just everything. Like, everybody want to make it to the NBA or the NFL or anything like that. But I feel like that detour in your life that a lot of people get is to delay you from the things that could, really mess you up. Mm-hmm. Right. So you got to think, I don't have these riches, I don't have this notoriety because of a reason. Like, God is protecting me from something. Maybe I'm not mentally strong for being in the league and all the things that come with it, social media and all this other stuff. Or me, I'm big on family. I love my family. Having all that money, I would probably
go broke.
Crazy. I would
take care of everybody.
Going through the things I'm going through and just realizing how people move and how people think and how, just all kind of things. It changes my perspective on it. And so now it's like, I'm going to just take my time. So in the process, I'm getting my body right. I'm getting my mind right. I'm knowing that sometimes you really do have to take a break from social media. Being on there, people wake up, that's the first thing you do.
So pick up their phone.
You start your day off like that instead of starting your day off praying, meditating, going, take, just getting yourself right. I feel like, man, that it's.
So what's the longest time you've been without your? You say you take social media breaks. So what's the longest you've been without that?
I try to take it for like, cause it's kind of hard. It's like you being a vegetarian. Exactly. But you gotta ease into it. So,
you have to ease
like I try to. At first, I did like I'm gonna skip a day, or I'll go like the whole day and then get on it at night, or just do it at small patterns like that. Until now, I could go a week without being on there. And it's still growing, but I would say like a week is the longest I could go.
That's
right now. I mean, that's good though, because I think the point you said, which I think is very valid, that you should not wake up in the morning and look at social media first thing. Because the very first thing you're doing is comparing yourself to others and having that inner peace in your voice, your talk with God.
When you get up, you get dressed, and you be like, man, these clothes don't look like
Exactly. I mean, I think it's something very important, but that's just, when you said that, I'm like, I think most of us do that now, where if you don't have your phone, you're about to die. You're like, where's my phone? Like, you don't even care about your money sometimes. You're like, did I leave my phone though? Because it's so important. And why do you need your phone? Because you got to get social media. So, it does. You're right. It's not just the younger generation. Everybody is at this point on social media and addicted to it. A lot of people are addicted to it.
And again, just in regards to this time, I'm like you now, and I forgot that other thought that I had that I wanted to bring up, but something that I'm dealing with right now with Dalen is, the younger generation, they either coming up, all they want to do is rap, all they want to do is play ball, all they want to do is something, and that's all they want to do. What do you say? Because I know basketball was your thing. Right. What do you tell yourself now, as in having a backup or having something else to be able to do? And what do you think in regards to that? What would you tell Dalen in this situation? Because he suffered a concussion and his first time, he's 16, first time not being able to get on that field. Today is homecoming. Right. He can't even play in the game. You know what I'm saying? Because he has to sit out that protocol. Right. If you could think about it, I think you hurt your knee or something or whatever you did in high school.
Like a funny muscle or something.
Yeah. Like that. What did you have to tell yourself? What would you tell him? What would you tell anybody going through that situation? What if today was your last day being able to ball out? What do you do?
It's bigger than just you. That's what I could say. It's bigger than just you. And I had to think about that too, because it's like, I love basketball with a passion. Like, that's why I let all my anger out, my stress. That's why I go to for everything. But it's bigger than just you. So coming up, like you say, everything happens for a reason. So, you got hurt or something like that. So now it's your turn to teach the next person the things that you didn't know and to better themselves and be prepared for anything like that. But all right, for example, for me with basketball, like if basketball don't work with me, I could start a foundation or a gym or something that begins to, like, we have the Big Brother program or something like that, where you are constantly mentored by people that look just like you. So now you have no problem with going through the things that you're going through and, just questioning yourself a lot and all that stuff. But, there's a way to make money through it. There's a way to bring your community together. It's all kind of things, all kind of ways to think about it. But you have to really just keep your head up and believe in God and keep the faith and know that everything happens for a reason. Like you'll be upset right now, but in the long run, you'll be thankful for it. Yeah. You'll smile about it, you'll laugh about it, and it's just, everything is divine. Everything is a blessing.
Absolutely, everything is definitely divine, man. Just like this podcast right now. Right. So, as far as last words, I know you gave me a particular time. We've surpassed that time a little bit. I don't know what your timing is like. Yeah. So, what do you want to share lastly? And we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna revisit the things we talked about. You can still, as you leave, you can check us out on the social media. What would you like to leave with the people that's watching before you got to get out of here?
Man, self-care is a big thing. Self-care, self-care, man. Make sure your mental is right throughout everything, because this is a cold, crazy world. And the only way you're really going to get through it and be able to succeed is keep your head on right and knowing that everything is divine. Everything happens for a reason. So instead of putting yourself down, smile through the struggle, smile through your journey, and just have fun with it, you know.
Yeah.
And just know that everything is a blessing. God works in mysterious ways. Remember that too. If you go outside and your tires flat,
he might be saving you from something.
Nah, he was saving you from something.
That might, he was.
Right.
Yeah.
Saving you from something. So just think about everything like that, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And I thought about what I was going to talk to you about, but you know, we're going to have a part 2. I definitely got to let you get up out of here because I know you got things to do. I appreciate you, you know, for even creating this space because it was definitely all you.
Right.
In regards to us starting up the new podcast. Dr. P was on top of that. It's just crazy how everything meshes together. And, you know, it's just big of you. So lastly, so you've told people what you think. What would you ask of the older generation, whether it be male or female, for someone like yourself at the exact place in life that you are right now in a general situation, or somebody else that's in your position? What would you want the general population of men and women, the older generation, to do for individuals like yourself?
Be genuine towards the people that's coming up. You know, we can't keep having a cycle of hurting more people to hurt more people. So then, you know, the cycle then continues. But I feel like that's where the older generation steps in, because y'all have the older authority towards us, you know, the older wisdom. We'll look up to y'all more by saying the things that, you know, that y'all know and have been through, and just by y'all working on y'all mental health and y'all going through self-care, that'll begin to show younger people like this is the way, like not comparing yourself to other people the wrong way coming up, but comparing yourself to that person. Like I said earlier, like the motivator. Right. My little sister behind me, I approach a man saying, "How you doing, King?" Or I approach a woman and say, "How you doing, Queen?" She then is going to do that. And then the next person see her doing it, and then that becomes a new cycle. So then I feel like just beginning a new cycle is what I ask for the older generation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the crazy part is, man, it just starts with yourself, you know. So look, I want you to get up out of here because I know we talked about you definitely. You got to go. So, you know, just go ahead and do what you need to do. Come back and comment, you know. So everybody, Trey has to get up out of here. He's going to comment and leave messages later on at whatever time he can come back and visit the show and put those comments. And y'all just motivate this young man, man. Appreciate you being here. Absolutely. And me and Dr. P are going to carry on the show. I guess we'll have a lot to talk about. Yeah, I'll make sure that you have her information.
We need more people. Oh my God, we need you in this fight. So, yeah.
And be ready for the Mind Matters podcast show next week. People are telling you have a blessed day, Trey. And you know, IG, we've been kind of ignoring y'all today, man. I see y'all tuned in. We appreciate y'all being part of this conversation.
Man. Love y'all, kings and queens. Y'all be good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely. Hit me up and let me know you good. All right. Man. So, Dr. P, you're the professional, so talk to me.
Wow.
How does that make you feel?
It'll make me feel good. Even when you first told me about him, I guess 2 or 3 weeks ago, that he had that, he just wanted to talk to you about it. That was impressive for me because I know that's just something young people don't on their own voluntarily. Because even when I have people come see me for therapy-wise, usually somebody has made them come.
Yeah.
A family member, somebody's like, "Look, you got to talk to my child or my son or whatever." So I was very impressed that he even wanted to even do this, that he wanted to even talk, and that he wants to pursue or at least look at how he can be a benefit in the psychology world. So for me, inspired by him, that he is open about his emotions and expressions, which is very hard in these days. So I'm glad that we did this. I mean, it was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I feel the same way. You know, it's funny because what I was going to tell him, I wish he didn't have to get up out of here, but he was nervous. He didn't want to do it, didn't know what he wanted to say, but as you can see, he eloquently spoke. And of course, you know, got tied up with thoughts at certain times, but hell, so did I. You know what I'm saying? So it's just really cool to experience that in a young man, only 20 years old. If you're just chiming in, go back and watch this show. You know, look at the thoughts and look at the mind of our young people. And I mean, I don't want to share what he had to do to even get here today. That's another part of it. You know, he made sure he got here because, you know, he didn't want to let me down, number one. And number two, you know, it meant a lot to him. And so, that's an important part of it. And this is, again, it's crazy. It's like God works in mysterious ways. But let's go to, I guess, the Dr. Pete stuff, right?
Okay.
So we'll talk about as it still relates to this show, but we are definitely launching a new podcast for those of you who may just be chiming in. I'm excited. I know you excited. I know our man Dave is excited. But we are launching a new podcast show, which is called the Mind Matters Podcast Show. Our little tagline is check the DM, because people are always on social media, and it's always about checking your DM. But in our case, checking the DM means check the mind. And so you can see what we're talking about. We'll put the little graphics up. We'll put up our fly pictures. And big shouts out to Jay. Hold on one second. Take that down. So that way people can see the shirts. As you can see right now, you see our this is one of our promo photos. And like I said, big shouts out to Jay for doing the photography, capturing us the right way, and make sure, as you can see, it's check the mind. That's what it's all about for me. So I'm excited about kicking this show off. I know we're gonna have a great time, and we're really intentional about what we're doing. And these amazing photos that you see up here right now, we're gonna really, really, really get into the thick of mental health and wellness.
Yeah, it's just an everyday thing. Like, we want the show to be conversational, kind of like what we're doing today, where we really just want people to be comfortable with the whole idea, where you just openly say, man, I'm depressed today. Or, I think I'm hearing something. Like, definitely when we talk about the more serious mental illness, I definitely want people to be aware, because in our community, especially in Black community, with all the poverty, the racism, we have more mental health issues than anyone else in this whole world. And like LeVar said, throughout the world, everyone deals with it. But when you have been oppressed for so long, it definitely changes your mind. And so the purpose of our show is we want you to always be aware of what you're feeling, what you're thinking. Because if you're aware of your thoughts and how it's affecting your behavior, then you're able to alter those thoughts. Because whatever you're thinking, it affects your behavior, right? So when we talk about check the mind, that's the purpose of it. Like, I want you to be aware of what you're thinking and what you're doing. I'm a psychologist, been a psychologist 20 years, and there's still times I'm like, wait, why did I do that? Or, why am I doing this? Like, but because of what I do, I'm aware of it. When it happens, I can stop myself and say, wait, let me take a step back. Let me reflect.
The techniques.
I have the techniques to do
it. The skill set is what I was trying to say.
To do so. And even at times I still feel, people who know me know I have a temper I still work on. Right?
Oh, do you? You know that?
Just a little temper, just a little. I've gotten better over the years. But I say that to say no one is perfect. It's kind of what Trey said, like, none of us are perfect. We're all on this journey. And I love that he said he's enjoying the journey, because most of us don't enjoy the journey. We're just ready to have the end result. We're like, okay, what's going to happen, God? Please, I'm tired. Let me know this is the end. And he's saying, and it's true, because you want to enjoy every aspect of your life. And if you're only worried about the outcome, then you're not enjoying the journey. And our life really is about the journey. It's about what people say, the dash, like, when you were born young, but it's that dash that matters. And that's what this is what the young man was talking about. And so it couldn't be a more perfect segue of us to talk about the Mind Matters podcast, because I do, and just a young person, so that's what we want. We want people like him and everyone else watching it to be comfortable.
Yeah, and speak on that, because I don't know what you've been going through, but I promise you, I was already thinking about it before you called and talked about it, right? That was confirmation for me. And I've been getting, we've been talking a couple of times, and we have people hitting us about,
at that time.
And we both look at each other like,
what?
We already got a sponsor for the show. So it's another thing, because if you want to be a sponsor of the Mind Matters podcast show, hit me or Dr. P up. We have packages. We have what you need for the show, because this is important. Like, I feel like the Reach podcast show, I shared this with her. I'm going to share it with this audience. I feel like it's been the battleground for me to understand how we need to run it and what needs to happen. And, because I started the Reach podcast as not a business, I'm just getting into the business side of this show because it was just a passion for me to speak, and to get these stories out. But what we're moving into now definitely is much needed. And I absolutely have no problem asking for monetary donations and sponsorships, because I know it's of great value. It took me a minute to realize that what I'm doing with this show is of great value. And I didn't feel like I needed, nobody would do that, whatever. But people do. But going back to the sponsorship and the donations and stuff like that, because we're looking to do some awesome things with this show. So again, if you want to be a sponsor of the show, don't hesitate to hit me or Dr. P up. That's number one. Number two, we're going to be talking about some serious things. So to talk about the flow of the show, I want to start with you. Mm-hmm. What made you call me and say, I want to do this?
Yeah, I mean, I've been, and originally I've always wanted to help the community. When I first started psychology, I wanted to be a community psychologist. That was my original intent, which is, and if you know anything about psychology, it really is about community psychology deals with helping the community, not just individual one-on-one therapy, but helping the community. And in my case, it was, at the time, which is still relevant, was about violence, about the violence that we in our communities. Almost everybody, I'm going to wager this, every Black person I know knows someone who has been killed violently. Mm-hmm. That is just a fact. I used to ask that when I taught at Southern University. Raise your hand if you lost somebody who, was killed.
Let me throw this in there real quick, just in case Trey pops up and gets to watching. That was my last point. I wanted to cover, because I know some personal losses he's taken. I know he lost a brother, he lost uncle and all this. And it's like, what is the psyche of the young people and why they become so violent? Like, I wanted to touch on that, so we'll have to make sure we cover that topic because I know a big part of his journey is the weight of losing people. And again, I lost a good friend. Again, RIP to Mr. Ali Dotton, who passed away last night. We're always losing people, and I wanted to hear from him how that makes him feel, because I know he carries that, and it makes you want to be violent. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm sorry. That was the point I wanted to share with him.
Yes, and that's fine, because this is how the show will be. Like, we really are going to be off the cuff, talking about issues, talking about things that affect you. So it's not going to be the typical show where I'm, like if you go to a panel and people just discussing this is what depression is, or this is what, we're not doing that. We just really want to have an open dialogue conversation about what's going on. But how I approached LeVar in the first place, I was on his show for revealing myself as an author. Mm-hmm. And
mental health and wellness.
Yes.
Yeah.
But during the process, I get nervous when I speak. I always have. Even though I taught for years, I will still get nervous on presentations in front of hundreds of people and still get nervous every time. And so, but I thought we had a good vibe, and I was like, he might be the person that I could do this show with, in terms of having a lay person who is not in a professional world of psychology, who can speak on how most people feel. I'm in this world, so I'm like, oh, everybody appreciates psychology. Everybody, but he's in a world of people, where most people, I think, feel, where they don't trust this whole notion of mental health, or are you over-medicating us, or you over-diagnosing? So he's coming from that perspective, and I'm going to have David Manning, who's a licensed counselor, who also will come. He's working on his PhD, who's going to be also a part of this journey in this The Mind Matter podcast. But going back to, I wanted to really help the community. I wanted to help people think differently on, why are we violent? Kind of what you just said. We are in your community. We are. I worked in schools. I worked in Houston schools where kids are just, want to fight every day for anything. Yeah. I'm like, why are you so mad? Like, why are you booted up all the time? And so,
y'all heard that boot come out of her? Why you booted up all the time? Help people understand what that means.
I'm just saying, they're walking around with a frown on their face. It's like they're ready. So if you're walking around like this, someone can say boo to you. We should be walking around like this, like open. We're walking around closed. So people really can't say anything to you.
Right.
From the youngest child to the grown adult.
Yeah.
And so that's what our show wants, we want to reach. We want to change the world,
Absolutely.
To make it simple. We want to shape and change the world so that people are
be the change that we want to see.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good way to sum it up.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think it's really cool. And I was honored that you called me. And she ain't tell it right. She hit me, you're the professional in the podcast, where I'm like, hold on, I ain't no professional. But again, it felt good for you to think of me in such manner. But we've put a great show together. And we're going to, again, as you can see, we're going to be streaming live every week, Thursday evening. So again, for you guys who are thinking that this show is replacing the Reach podcast, it's absolutely not. The Reach podcast show will still be here every Thursday morning, 10:30 to noon. And then you have the opportunity to connect back with us again in the evening every Thursday, 6:30 to 7:30, 8 o'clock, and again, it's just flowing. We're going to get into it. I don't want to share the Mind Matters deal. We'll wait. We'll share that next week.
Yeah.
But what I do want to share is, like she said, the whole idea of having a whole Black panel, because we are talking about our people, how it affects our people. That's the main thing. Man and a woman, both professionals, and then myself to help on the podcast side of things, but also from the common man aspect. I'm going to ask the questions that many of you guys may be thinking as it relates to not being familiar with psychology and wanting to get treatment and wanting to go and speak and be open about it. That's what the show is really about, and I think we got a great dynamic. But something we are sharing, which you'll be able to look forward to every single week, is the Dr. P tips. So I'm excited about it because this is her thing. I don't know what you're gonna do. So talk about Dr. P tips. Why Dr. P tips? What is a Dr. P tip, and how we gonna incorporate that?
Okay, a Dr. P tip. Okay, it can be professional, personal, or parenting. I just kind of piggyback off my name. Most people can't say P Ryan, so for years. People have called me Dr. P, and I just kind of run with it because when I start saying P Ryan, they're like, wait, how you say that again? Just call me Dr. P. So
I'll put her name on the screen so you can see.
He did.
Rashida P. Ryan. I don't know if that spells P. Ryan, but we go with Dr. P. It does
spell P. Ryan. It does. But yeah, and that's pretty much where I came up with it. And with all the clients that I've seen over the years, if you ever sat opposite me, I give homework assignments. I'm always like, okay, what you gotta do this week, and it's usually some kind of tip I want them to carry with them until we meet again. And so what I'm going to do at the end of each show is give a tip, and I want you to carry it or try to do it for the week, if you will. And hopefully the more that you do it becomes a part of you, becomes second nature to you, so that when times are hard, you use it to cope. Because everything I'm giving you is about how to be, how to be a better person, how to feel better, how to think better. My motto is you can always be a better person, no matter what. That's just how I feel.
It's funny you say that because for those of you, again, who follow me, Dad Chronicles, that's what it was all about. I always say Jay-Z, Obama, whoever, Elon Musk, all these people, they can look in the mirror and find a way to be better. That's what it's all about. No matter who you are, you can always grow. But do you have one for my audience, and hopefully they'll tap in with us? So what do you want to share, on the Reach Podcast show as we lead into the amazing kickoff week of the Mind Matters podcast?
Okay, this is very fitting because I actually had this tip in mind even before Trey started speaking. And the main thing that I want people to do is to identify something that they're grateful for. And don't give me the typical, I'm grateful I woke up this morning. Well, I mean, I know you should be grateful that you woke up this morning. I'm not knocking that. Yes, they're like, because I do it to people, are like, well, I guess I'm glad. No, I want you to dig deeper. I want you to really think about, because we focus so much on what we don't have. I want you to focus on what you do have. And so the more you do that, then you start to be like, oh, I'm actually okay. I'm actually okay. So that is what I want you to do. That's the first tip, is focus on what you do have, what you're grateful for, whether it's your family, whether it's my job, whether it's my kids, whether it's that my car gets me where I need to go. Even if it's something simple as I'm grateful because I'm enjoying the World Series. It is about those little moments. Because some people might still, I have people who say, well, I don't have a good family. I'm not getting along with my family. I'm not in the best health. They can come with all kinds of reasons what's going wrong. And I will keep digging until I find something. We'll keep digging together. I'm like, okay, what about this? What about that? And then, so I was like, like one person was like, I said, what really makes your day? And they were like, every day I like to watch Martin. I was like, well, then that's what you're grateful for. That every day it makes you smile. It makes you feel happy. Even if it's just for those 30 minutes you're watching Martin Lawrence or however long you watch him, it made you smile. That's what we're grateful for. And so that is what I want people to take with them for the week going forward, is that you focus on what is right in your life.
That's what's up. And that's good. That's all I can say about that. That's good, because it'll carry over. And so, as it relates to the Mind Matters podcast, and check the DM, if you'll explain why it's so important to check the mind. Why are you good with that mantra? Let's just give them that, and then we can get up out of here.
Okay. Why I'm good, as you said, it deals with us, the social media aspect, that we're always, on our phones, computers, whatever, looking at social media. But what I really want people to do is check the mind. Always be aware of your thought process, what's going on, because I can give you a quick example. You ever had a moment where you just like, I just feel funny. I don't quite feel like myself. I'm just off. That's the moment you have to sit back. That's the time when you need to reflect and say, what is bothering me? Because usually you sit still long enough, it'll come to you what's really, because it might be something you're running from that you don't want to deal with. And so that's why you're feeling anxious.
Now, see, you talking to my mom and my oldest daughter right now. They I just woke up in a funk.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to identify that.
You got to identify what's causing that funk. And of course, it could be hormonal. It could be, something simple as that. But often than not, it is something. Whether we're running from it, it could have been a dream we just had, but we can't remember the dream, so we're just feeling funny. But the more that you're aware of your thought process, I have clients all the time, and I'm always like, so what? And they get, they're like, here you go, Dr. P. I'm like, I'm just being real with you. Yeah. I'm just saying, what is going through your head right now?
Yeah.
What are you running from? What are you, are you afraid of failure? Are you afraid of success? Are you afraid to have that conversation?
Yeah.
Some water. Conversation with that person because you don't want to have, bad feelings. Whatever it is, your thought process guides your behavior.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So again, man,
check that mind.
Yeah, check the mind. Check the DM is what it's all about. And again, we'll put the photos up. And so look for us next week as we start off this new show. Myself, David, and in the middle, the lovely Dr. P. We are going to really dig into some things that our community needs. And we're going to have those conversations. And so we hope that you join us next week, November 4th. We are kicking off the new show coming November 4th, the Mind Matters podcast. We're excited about this, and we hope you enjoyed the show today because it's all about reaching everybody, the Reach Podcast Show, as long as we can reach one person week to week. But I also talked about, I got to change that up. I want to reach everybody that's watching the show, not just one person, but you got to start somewhere. But we appreciate everybody tuning in. This has definitely been an amazing, amazing show. Big salutes to Trevion and stepping forward and speaking his mind and just taking that leap because
we definitely got to have him on the Mind Matters. We're going to have him on there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And you can definitely find us on Instagram and stuff right now and get connected with us and start following the show right now and understand that we are here to definitely help the community. And hey, Miss Raynice, I'm going to hit you right back. I saw she had just hit me too. We're going to definitely talk about what we have going on with that as well. But again, the Reach Podcast Show, where every show reaches beyond the ears of the listeners. You guys tune in next Thursday evening. And again, the Reach Podcast Show is not going anywhere. We're still here 10:30 to noon every Thursday morning. And then it'll be the Mind Matters Podcast Show in the evening at 6:30. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show and got something from it. And if you need anything from myself, to hit the DM. Check the DM. If you need anything from Dr. P, check the DM, and we'll be back to you. But you guys have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I have to definitely put it up one more time to all my Scorpios, too. Man, I almost forgot. I have to tell you, if you are a Scorpio and you show up at the poetry night tomorrow, I'm going to have something special for you. Oh, my God. So the answer to your question was no, you're not a Scorpio. So no, you don't get the special treat. No, I'm not a Scorpio. You definitely want to come and party with me tomorrow, man. Celebrate the month of November. You already know it's our season, as they say, proud to be a Scorpio. So if you're a Scorpio, you want to come and check this event out. It is the return of the last Friday's poetry night, and it's going to be over at Honey Beyond Studios. We'll put the address up here right here so that way you can come and find us. And the doors open at 7 o'clock. The show is going to start at 8. Come and have a great time. The virtual tickets. And you definitely have the virtual tickets if you can't make it. The link and everything is up on my Instagram page, podcast, Facebook page. You can find everything you need. So come and party with us tomorrow at Honey Beyond Studios, 1667 Cartwright Road, Missouri City, Texas. 7 o'clock, the doors open. 8 o'clock, the show starts, and we just going to rock out. And we have an amazing lineup. So peace to everybody. Check the mind, and we'll check in with you guys next week. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just want to say shout out to Sean. I saw she actually went to high school with my sister and went to college at FAMU. Shout out to the Rattlers. And my best friend sister was 10 years old, Patrice. I just want to say shout out to her because she's always been supportive. So thank you.
Absolutely. And y'all come check out the location we're at right now, Diamond Fit Nutrition. Come get your healthy shakes and teas and show the support. Absolutely. Y'all have a good week.